Now we'll talk about another type of asexual reproduction, that is vegetative propagation. Now vegetative propagation is a process by which new plants are produced with the help of vegetative parts of plants. Okay, so they are produced from the vegetative parts of plants, which is the stem, the root, the leaves maybe. Okay, without producing any seeds. So as because the new plants are producing from vegetative parts like the stem, the roots, the leaves, such a process of reproducing is called vegetative propagation. Now it may happen naturally. So there are few vegetative propagation which are natural. Now man is very clever. So it has also found out some ways of producing new plants without the production of seeds. So that is artificial way of vegetative propagation where man's effort is required. Here it is occurring naturally. So it may naturally occur with the help of stem, like you see. If I take potato, potato is a modified stem. If you
So, in this period of lockdown, let us do some activity at home and help your parents by making a kitchen garden. Fine. For which you just require a simple pot. If you don't have a pot, you can use some old plastic bottles. Okay, prepare the soil. Compost can easily be made by vegetable peels, which you can keep in a covered corner outside the house somewhere.
you can see the marks on it called eyes. These are actually the vegetative buds. So if we cut a piece of it with the eye, okay, and you place it in the soil, you'll find a new plant growing from it of a potato. Okay, so from those vegetative buds what happens? New plant grows. So this is an example of vegetative propagation. This form of the stem modification is called tuber, if you remember. Okay, the stem is modified to store food inside it, so it is called a tuber. And the eyes are actually the buds from which new plants arises. Fine.
Do the process as shown, and you'll soon have some vegetable plants growing.
If we take the example of ginger, it is called a rhizome. This is also a modification of stem, and this type of modification is called a rhizome. Fine. You must have seen ginger. So here what happens? There are lines in it. So these lines on the ginger are actually the nodes and internodes. Okay, you remember the nodes? Nodes are points on the stem from which new branches or leaves arises. So these are the nodes, and the space between the two nodes is called internodes. Because of the presence of this nodes and internodes, we can easily say that it is a stem, because nodes and internodes are not present in the roots. It is only present in the stem. Okay, so they carry thin, dry, and brown papery leaves, scaly leaves, and it's the brown covering. Okay, so the nodes carry this scaly leaves. The axillary buds grow out from the nodes to produce new plants. So this is, if you keep this for some time, outside in the warm months, what you'll find? You find the buds or a new plant growing from it, or you sow it or you put it in the moist soil for a few days. After a few days you find ginger plant growing. So you can do that at home if you take 3 pots, small pots, and you can do it. Okay, so now we come to another modification of stem, that is called bulb. So this part of the stem from where you can see the adventitious roots arising. Okay, so this is called the disc like stem. Now it has protective covering, the scaly leaves, dry scaly leaves, and you can see the fleshy leaves inside. Now when we cut, you can see the scaly leaves protecting the bulb, and inside it you can see the fleshy leaves. The fleshy leaves which we normally like to eat or cook. Okay, the fleshy leaves are there. If I cut it in, when I cut it into two parts. Now you can see the buds. So the center one is the terminal bud, and in the sides there are axillary buds. These were all with the help of stem. Now coming to vegetative propagation with the help of roots. Okay, so for the best example is the grass. So I've brought some grass to show you. So you must have noted that if you are sitting, you're trying to pull out grasses habitually, people do. You shouldn't do it anyway. So what you find that you're pulling out the grass from A point, and like a thread it is running till point B or C. So why is it so? It is because the grass is, as you see, a sub-aerial modification of stem called stolon. So here you see in the lawn grass, it has long internodes between successive nodes creeping on the surface of the ground. From each node, roots are given out. Can you see? The axillary buds at the nodes produce new shoots. This you can see even in strawberry or oxalis, and chrysanthemum has beautiful flowers. Okay, even in mint, this type of propagation is seen with the help of stem. Bryophyllum is a plant which propagates vegetatively with the help of leaves. Now there are many notches in its leaves where vegetative buds start growing. Now, when such a leaf falls on the ground on a moist soil, now these buds start growing as a new individual plant. So, this is an example of vegetative propagation by leaves. The vegetative propagation, they produce identical, totally clone to the mother plant, similar, there is no variety in it. So because of that, there are some advantages and some disadvantages. So what are the advantages? It can be grown in a very small time, within a very shorter span of time, the plants can be grown. It is a surer method. Okay, there is no pollination, whether the flowers will be pollinated, whether it will be fertilized. So there is no such queries there. So therefore, it is a surer method. It can be, this process can happen in a small area. Okay, so retain good characters of a mother plant. So whatever good characters were there in the mother plant is retained in the offspring. Okay, so without seed formation, this is an advantage, that seed formation is not required. It is a process, a long process, the seed formation. So as because seeds are not required, reproduction is occurring from vegetative parts. So therefore, seeds are not required. That's also an advantage here. But what are the disadvantages? The disadvantages are they're genetically identical. There are no varieties formed by vegetative propagation in limited area. So this can happen only in a small limited area, not disease resistant. That is, if any disease or any is infected, the plant is infected with, then all the plants, as because they are genetically identical, can be easily affected. So these are the disadvantages of vegetative propagation. As I discussed, the vegetative propagation happens naturally as well as artificially with the help of man. So now we are going to discuss about the artificial ways of producing plants without seeds, without taking the help of seeds. So here what happens? The first way that we discuss is cutting. Cutting is a way of artificial vegetative propagation where 6 to 7 inches of a stem is taken along with an axillary bud. Okay, now the stem may be cut into various pieces or a single piece can be taken from it. Now that piece of the stem is fixed in the soil and left in the moist soil and left for some time. After a few days, what is it seen? That the base of the stem, which was in the soil, starts producing roots. So therefore, as the roots form and the first leaves come out from the stem, therefore we come to know that the stem cutting has already started growing as a new plant. Okay, this is done in especially in plants like roses, sugarcane. Okay, to reproduce, you can do it at home also. You can take a this is how the gardeners also plant roses. So what they do, they take a piece of stem of a rose plant along with an axillary bud. Okay, now this is cut off from the main plant, and this stem cutting is placed in the soil. And what happens after a few days? We start seeing roots coming out of it. So once the roots come out, then the plant starts giving out new leaves and grows into a new individual plant. So this is seen in rose. This can be done with the rose plant, sugarcane. These are common processes for producing new plants of these. The next method of artificial vegetative propagation is layering. So this is normally done in mint plants or roses. Okay, jasmine. Jasmine is also a very sweet smelling flower, white in color. So these are actually bushy plants. There are lots of branches in it. So this can be done. So here in this process, what is done? One of the lower branch, young lower branch, is made to bend in the soil. Okay, this is the soil. So the lower branch is made to bend in the soil so that it touches the ground, and what happens? It is some soil is put on it. A weight is kept, maybe a brick or something is kept so that it doesn't come out of the soil. A little bit portion of bark is removed before it is bent, and it is seen that there is an axillary bud at that point. Okay, so now when this is kept like this for some days, what happens? It is seen that roots start developing from the point which touches the ground. After the roots start developing, then the plant is cut off from the parent plant, and now it grows into a new individual plant. Okay, so this process is called layering, done in plants like mint, rose or jasmine. The next process that we talk about is grafting. The grafting is a process is a technique of combining two desired characteristics in a plant. So for this, two plants are chosen, plant A and plant B. Suppose I want a plant with high yielding as well as disease resistant characteristics. So maybe in plant A we get the high yielding characteristic, it gives a lot of fruits, and plant B is a type of plant which is disease resistant. It doesn't easily get infected by diseases. So I want a plant which will have the good characteristic of A as well as B. So what shall we do? We will take plant pieces, stem pieces of plant A and stem pieces of plant B, join them and wait for a few days till they new tissues grow and they grow as one. So how is the whole process done? So suppose from plant A I take a stem piece which is heavily rooted. This is called a stalk. Say from plant A has been taken. A cut is made on it so that plant B can be fixed over it. From plant B, a stem piece is taken which has an axillary bud. This stem piece is called a scion. Here a sharp point is made so that it fixes in the plant A, in the stalk. So this scion is taken from plant B. Now next what is done? This scion is fixed to the stalk. The scion is fixed on the stalk in such a way that the cambium, that is the xylem and the phloem, they are the food supplier and the water and raw material supplier. So they are very close to each other of stalk A and scion B. It is then taped and a layer of wax is coated on it so that no water is lost from there, no dehydration occurs, and it is also not infected by bacteria. So in this way it is left for some days, and after a few days what is seen? New tissues grow and they join and develop into a new plant. Now this new plant which will grow and give fruit later, maybe that plant will have the characteristics both A and B. Now this process is carried on to get new varieties of mangoes, guavas, oranges, lemon. Okay, so this is what even the farmers do. So if you have any mango tree in your house, don't go out, and if it is done at home, you ask your parents, then take this chance of staying at home and have a look how they. Now we'll talk about micropropagation, which is actually a process in which cell culture or tissue culture technique is used. So it is done especially when vegetative propagation is not possible in an aseptic environment where microbes will not infect the parts that we are handling for this method. So some part or portion of the growing tips of the prosciutto is taken and placed in a nutrient medium. A medium or solution is taken in which the nutrients the plant requires for growing is there. So that portion of the part which has been taken from the growing tips, which is called explant, is placed in a nutrient medium. And what is observed, that this explant starts, the cells start multiplying, it gradually grows into a mass of cells which is called callus. So the callus is then, along with the nutrient medium, is placed in a medium which has hormones in it, which are actually growth regulators. When the callus is kept in these hormone medium of having growth regulators, now cell differentiation starts occurring and the parts are differentiated in a callus and starts developing roots, stems and leaves and becomes like identical to the bigger plant, which is called a plantlet. So it develops multiple plantlets. So after 4 to 6 weeks, these plantlets are then planted in the soil. These plantlets, when they are placed in the soil, they grow into new plants. So this technique of producing new plants with the help of cell or tissue culture is called micropropagation. Now the explant, when it is taken, has to be sterilized so that no microbial growth is there. That is, no microorganisms, disease causing organisms are there growing on it. Like we are now using sanitizers all the time or washing our hands, isn't it? Why? So that no microbes grow in it. It was always there. Now we have been made conscious about it. Okay, so and the whole experiment is done in an aseptic environment where it is very protective and no organism microbes can affect them or cause infect them. The micropropagation is a scientific way of reducing plants, okay, and it has its own benefits as well as some limitations. So, what happens? The benefits are, it is very rapid, very quickly the plants can be grown very easily. A lot of plantlets can be produced, and the seeds, the plants where the seeds are dormant, the seeds are the parts which will produce new plants. So if the seeds are by any reason not producing plants, so not giving rise to new plants, then the embryo of the seed can be used, the cell tissue, and micropropagation can be done and culture for new plants to be produced. So here micropropagation is beneficial. Okay, now what are the limitations? As you saw, a lot of scientific methods are required, how the explant needs to be taken, how it is sterilized, then what about the nutrient medium, the hormones. So all these needs a lot of scientific expertise. It cannot be done by one and all. It cannot be applied to all cases. It cannot be applied to all the kinds of plants also. Remote agricultural areas cannot follow this process. It needs a particular setup. So therefore micropropagation has the limitations of not being able to be done in all kinds of places. Now, tissue culture is done to produce orchids or asparagus or chrysanthemums